Good morning, everybody. It is Monday, July 3rd, around 8 a.m. I'm in Plovdiv, second day, and I'm heading towards the ancient theater. It's about a 30-minute walk. That is my hotel, and this is the rail station in Plovdiv. Kind of convenient, but the ancient theater is 30 minutes away. We're back at the park. It's kind of like the central park of Plovdiv, and I read online that this is called the Singing Fountains, and I don't know why it's called the Singing Fountains, but I don't think I'm gonna make an effort to see it. If I come around and they're singing, great, because if you remember, I made a 1-hour trek to the multimedia fountains in Wrocław, and that was kind of a disappointment. So I had enough fountains for this trip, I think. Yeah, on that trip I got stuck in Wrocław while they're running a marathon. I was planning to take the tram back, but no trams, and taxis would have taken longer than walking. So 1-hour walk back. Look at this beautiful park. We're at the ancient part of Plovdiv. Those are ancient Greek ruins, 2,500 years old. Back then this was called Philippopolis, named after Philip II, the father of Alexander the Great. And here are some more monuments. This city's been continuously occupied for 7,000 years. 7,000 years people have lived in this city. There is ancient monuments buried underground, because as the city develops, debris piles on, so the city just rises up. Look at those cats. They're hanging out where this used to be the ancient Agora. Agora is like the shopping district, like the main downtown in ancient times. So underneath the ground here, there is ancient monument buried. In fact, there is a it's like a big racetrack. It's bigger than the Coliseum. It's buried underneath, and they knew it was buried. They tried to look for it 100 years ago. They couldn't find it, but with the help with the United Nations in the 1960s, they finally found it, and they got it dug up partially, showing that there is indeed a big I don't know what you would call it. It's like a stadium. That's the best way to describe it. Bigger than the Coliseum. It was used for races, chariot races, but the chariots didn't go in circles. They went in a straight line, and it was used for naval battles and gladiator fights. So this is the walking part of the city. It's a really lovely area. In the evening there's all these people dining outside, and I'm going to show you where that racetrack began. The guide told us it's right there. Let me get to that point. So this is a sign for the opera happening in the ancient theater. They still have performances. I think they have a performance every week, once a week. Right here. That was the end of that ancient stadium. This marked the end. If you excavate it down here, you will see columns still standing. And then the racetrack will be right here, going for 250 meters or 250 yards. And I think he said it was 50 yards going side to side. So one of these stores, an ice cream store, I can't find it right now, might be this one, is the middle of that stadium, and they have dug it up and you could visit it during business hours. And also the H&M store, you could visit, go underground and see the monuments that they have dug up during business hours. Let me see what time their opening hours are. So they open from 10 to 9. So on the way back, I'm going to try to visit underground, see what it looks like. So look at this, all the way from there, all the way here. It was a stadium, and it's still there, underground. And look at the architecture. Reminds me a little bit of Vienna. So that is the end of the stadium, and that's a mosque that used to be a Byzantine church. You can see the parts of the stadium here also. And they have a cafe underground. I'm gonna try to visit it a little later, but we got to make it to the ancient theater. So they still perform opera during the summer, once a week. I'm gonna find out when they perform this week. So this is the ancient theater we're going to, but they're performing inside that 2,000-year-old theater. Okay, so July 11th, they have one tonight. Okay, at 9 p.m. David Garrick Iconic. I'm gonna see how much it costs. Maybe I'll see it. These are stones that they reused from a aqueduct that used to be right here. And they built this Byzantine church, which later became a mosque. Okay, it looks like you can go inside, some kind of 3D exhibition, I think. Looks like the church is open, but I'm gonna visit it later. So the curious looking building looks like this because of taxes. They were taxed based on the square footage of the bottom floor. That's why they made the second floor bigger. And in fact, in the first floor, it's not a lot of these places, it's not an entire room. They just have a small room, and it's like columns. So those columns don't count as rooms, so they're not taxed on it. Look at this curious looking guy. I saw something that looks like this back there, but it was in marble. I'm gonna try to check that out again. Also, they were taxed based on the number of windows. So they would put a lot of windows to show their wealth, and they make the bottom floor smaller to show that, hey, I could avoid taxes. So the ticket price is 5 levs, which is $2.50, but you could buy the combined ticket, which gets you to 5 sites for 15. So I'm gonna get this one. So the theater is closed. Okay, I'm gonna have to come back here tomorrow, but I'll give you some videos, show some videos of what it looks like. There's a nice cafe out here. Okay, I'm just gonna walk around and see what we could see. Unfortunately, on Mondays, most of the museums are closed. Look at that. I think this is like an ancient Greek Roman statue. Look at the face. What is it? Is it a mermaid? Very strange looking. It looks like abstract sculpture. Okay, here's another beautiful church. Probably can't film inside, but let's see for myself what it looks like. No filming inside, but they were chanting. There was a monk, either a priest or a monk. I assume it's an Orthodox Christian church because it doesn't look like any Catholic church I've been to. And they were chanting. There were people, praying. They were like standing and bowing. I didn't want to interrupt them, so I didn't go inside. I just looked from the door. But there's vaulted arches and very interesting church. Not like anything I've seen. There's one place I want to go visit, and that was the junkyard of all the quarries. He was mentioning how there's layers and layers of civilization that built walls, and I want to go and take a look at it more closely, because more ancient a civilization is, bigger those rocks are, which is interesting. So as the years progressed, the wall making became simpler. It seems as if they lost technology how to build these huge walls. So this is what Old Town Plovdiv looks like. A lot of these streets up a hill, downhill, medieval buildings, ancient walls. I'm just walking around exploring. This was a church that the guy talked about. This was a hidden church, so when the Ottomans ruled, all the churches had to be hidden behind the wall. And then they built bell towers. The Ottoman Empire, were Muslims, so they would have their own towers for calls for prayer. And when the call for prayers were going from their Muslim towers, all the church bells, the Catholic church bells or the Orthodox Christian church bells were ringing to block out the sound. So the Sultan destroyed all the bell towers, so they won't do that again. So all the bell towers you see now in Bulgaria, they're new. They were built like 100, 200 years ago. Okay, look at this. This huge rock. This was made in ancient times before the Romans, because the Romans, they used bricks like that right there. Let me go over there. So Romans invented bricks. These were built by the Romans. These were done by Greeks or the Thracians. And then if you advance the timeline, instead of getting more advanced technology, you get inferior technology, like these rocks. These were done in medieval times, and then you can see the rocks, the stoneworks as you progress. So a lot of people claim that we lost technology because of these megaliths. So these megaliths were built thousands of years ago. How can you move this huge rock? I mean, those rocks were even bigger, but how can you move this huge rock like 3,000 years ago? And 1,000 years ago they were doing this. So a lot of people claim we lost technology. There was an ancient civilization that had the know-how to build these huge rocks into a wall, build the pyramids, and then we lost that technology. I find the idea interesting, You know, a lot of people just dismiss it, but you know, I think we should look into it, because you know, a lot of places around the world, they have these big rocks. There's very little seam in between. You could see that that's not made out of, they didn't put any cement or anything like that. It's just holding it together. And like in Peru, the seams are so tight you can't even put, you know, a piece of a credit card through. Okay, the guide mentioned that this was like a junkyard for all the stuff that the ancients didn't use. You can see like Greek writing there. So this was made in Greek times. Oh, there's a better one right there for writing. So look at this. Made in ancient Greece. Okay, so that's probably like 2,500 years old. It's just sitting here. This was an ancient junkyard. And these are probably even older. So the initial walls are 2,500 years old, and then these are Romans, and then the Byzantines, and then medieval.